Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the rise of the micro brands.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
We are broadcasting to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And if you're watching this on a replay, skip it. And if you want to watch this on if you are watching this on my personal Facebook page, remember, you can always go to the official Facebook page, Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guide, and we have all sorts of highlights over there. So this is the point where I bring in my son, Kelsey. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
You've been behaving yourself in the big city?
Yes,
Good,
sir.
Good.
All right. You know the drill, everyone. Follow us on social media. We have Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the good stuff.
You told me to do this too.
Did I?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm smashing things.
Yeah, smash the follow button. Yeah. So we have an official podcast now. You can find us at lunchwithnorm.com and anywhere you find your podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, just search Lunch with Norm and we will be there.
Yeah, and remember, one of the things that we want to do is bring you great content. So we've got blog articles. We've also got a newsletter that, as I always say, doesn't suck. It's from content all about e-commerce, not just Amazon, not just Shopify, digital marketing, right across the board, a little bit of everything. So subscribe to it. We got a bunch of people subscribing last week, and really would like to hear your comments on that as well. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the updates, except if you rather watch than listen to us on your as a podcast, just the audio, you can always go over to YouTube, and we have tons of sound bites over there, as well as full episodes. Tons. Yep. And we are coming to you live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern Central Time. So I think that's it for today's updates.
Yeah. So if you're excited for today's episode, hit those like buttons, share this video, and hope you enjoy.
All right. Easy. Got off the screen. Okay, very good. So I am really excited about today's guest. And before I get started with any introduction, I want to thank Rob Burns. So Rob reached out to me and he says, I've got a guest that you've got to get onto your podcast. And if you have never heard of this website, check it out, OMG Commerce. They have been around forever. They're known as leaders, and they provide lots of quality content. They've got their own podcast, but just check out their website. And today, I'm so excited because the co-founder of OMG Commerce is Chris Brewer. He's going to be on. And Chris has a history of building 7- and 8-figure businesses for people. He regularly coaches entrepreneurs and small business leaders on business growth, sales, and marketing. So just remember, if you have any questions or comments, throw them over in the comment area and we will get to them. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. All right. So Chris, there he is. There's the man. How are you?
Norm, I am fantastic. I am so glad to be here today. I am one of those rare few people that wasn't that familiar with the bearded one. And I actually have a member of my Amazon team that when I posted I was going to be on your podcast, she sent me a direct message and said, "Oh man, I love Norm. He's amazing." So I've done a little bit of my research and I can concur with that. So it's great to be here today.
Oh, that's great. And you are one of the leaders. How long has OMG been around?
We've been around for 10 years.
Wow.
And yeah, this is our 10-year kind of anniversary year, the perfect year, Norm, 2020. If you're going to have an anniversary year as a company, 2020 might as well be that year because, it's just been such a smooth year. And
sure.
Yeah. But and My business partner is Brett Curry, who I would say is probably better known than I am. He's more the face of our company. We both do stages back when people were doing stages. We both do podcasts, but he's the host of our e-commerce evolution podcast. And so we've been 50-50 business partners for 10 years. So it's worked out quite well.
You know, just hearing you say back in the day, basically stages, isn't that weird? When is it going to come back where we can actually go and meet people?
I don't know. I think it's just when enough people are going to make it profitable for those companies to do that, because and when they can do it, probably when it's, I'll say this in a broad way, politically safe to do so. Because I know there have been events, but they've been events with maybe a few hundred people rather than thousands. The 1,000 people events, they're just going to get too much bad PR by hosting them. Right. So I think it's going to be a PR play rather than maybe when it's actually safe to do so. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, these virtual summits that are every week, every day, I mean, they're great. You can learn a lot of information. But one of the best things about going out to events, the information is always fantastic. I'm always taking notes. But it's the networking and getting to know people. And I feel so ripped off when, I'm listening and I can't interact with anybody or see who's in the audience other than answering a question. Even here, I really want to jump out and have an event, get people over, talk with people, because that's what it's all about, is really growing your network. Information is one thing. You can apply that, but your network is priceless. I mean, that's my biggest asset. So anyways, I'm just talking, out the side of my mouth here.
No, I think there's a lot to that. There's so much to the one-to-one relationship building and being at events. I'm in a mastermind. I'm wearing a hat today for one of the masterminds, and they've recognized that we haven't been able to be at the event, so they've extended our value, like by not giving us another bill until they can have live events again, which is a very wise thing to do. And they've done their best at having virtual events. I think there's a lot that's been learned there virtually, and right, how to do those profitably. Well, we've been pitched on sponsoring those, and when they first started, it was the same price as a live event, and they've quickly learned they're not going to be able to get that same dollar amount. So it's been a fascinating transformation. I think business overall will be better for it in the end.
I'm curious, what is the mastermind?
This is War Room, led by Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher and who's the Roland Frazier. Those are the kind of the three guys that are in leading War Room. I'm also in a mastermind called Blue Ribbon, which Ezra Firestone runs. That's the one we've been in the longest, which for anyone, it's got a lot of Amazon entrepreneurs in there as well. Blue Ribbon is amazing if you're an e-commerce store owner. Definitely one to check out.
Yeah, we didn't set out to talk about mentoring or events, but it's so important, especially nowadays. I don't recommend going out and following 10 experts, but settling into a good quality mastermind or two, investing some money, because the good ones usually cost money. That's where you get to build your knowledge. That's where you get to build some great network. And until you do that, and especially if you're just trying to do everything on the cheap, that's what that's what it's worth. It's going to be cheap, and it could be misinformation. Going into really great masterminds, you're getting a lot of the time, especially with the two that you just mentioned, they're tough to get into, especially War Room. But anyways, any of these masterminds that might be $90, $50, $100, $400, $500, check it out, see who's running it, do some investigating, and join. It's the best, monthly fee. Most of them are recurring, but recurring monthly. But you get so much information out of it that, yeah. I mean, if you have a problem, Amazon. If you have a problem on Amazon, you could probably just post it and have an answer in a second.
I'll tell you a couple of, one is a suggestion and the second one is a hack. We'll call it a hack. And I also want to say for your audio person, if you hear a train whistle while I'm talking, it is a train whistle. We put our podcast room as far away from the other side of the building. It's kind of a funny story, but when we leased the building for a 5-year lease, the owner said, "Oh yeah, there's a train track, but it's just a service track. You won't have any issue with the whistle." We have issues with the whistles. So it's kind of a fun story. We're in a 1918 old seed building warehouse that was converted into office space, and it's provides some interesting things sometimes. So the group I've recently gotten into is eCommerce Fuel, Andrew Udarian's group. That's the eCommerce Fuel, but that group is fire. And for the amount of money that, and it has a waiting list. It took me a little while to get in there, but it's like $99 a month or $99 a quarter. I don't know. It's on the inexpensive thing, but I will tell you, it is phenomenal, the level of members that are in that group and how they contribute and share. And then if you're just starting out and you're like, gosh, even $99 a month, I'd rather put that into ads, or I'd rather put that into freelance work, what have you. That's fine. Here's a little hack for you. Google podcasts, bookmark this podcast, Lunch with Norm. I know you've got another podcast, I think, Norm, and then Google eCommerce podcast, Google Amazon podcast. Go in and scroll through the episodes, make a note of the ones that connect with you, then schedule time on your calendar to listen with full attention to those episodes. And that can, in a way, create your own mastermind group, because one of the hack part of it is then follow through and reach out to those individuals that were on the podcast. Many times, if you mention in the subject line, heard you on XYZ podcast, these individuals that might be hard to speak with normally, you'll get a response, and then you're creating your own network group, not just by listening, but also engaging with the guests and hosts on those podcasts. So that's just a little tip for you.
Great. So today, just before we got on here, we were thinking, well, okay, we already talked about it prior to coming on, what we were going to talk about. But then we thought, oh, maybe we'll mix it up like the old Donnie Marie show, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. Let's do the same with Amazon and e-com. So you know both, you're an expert in both. So especially with what's going on right now, where are e-commerce businesses, or what way might they be missing right now with the way things are going? For fourth quarter, I should say.
Yeah, we just did. We handle Google as well. We were just on a webinar with Google yesterday or day before on kind of holiday prep webinar and kind of gearing up for that. A couple of things that I'll take is a little. I heard one of your other podcasts, you were talking about nuggets, so I'll throw some nuggets in here that I kind of gleaned from that event. One was a really good suggestion. On the Google side, there's a lot of things that have come out new in the last 12 months, last 24 months. If you're running Google ads, for instance, you need to make sure you do a thorough review of your account prior to fourth quarter to make sure you've got all the best practices going. One area that we see a lot of is just people not using responsive ads in their search ads, only using expanded text ads. Another is the new dynamic product ads and dynamic display that's out there, discovery ads, things that even if the account's running well, make sure you're ready to test some of these methods into fourth quarter. The other one is make sure you you look at what happened last year. Of course, we know last year was not a pandemic year, but still look at the ads that converted the best last year. You may have different SKUs or ASINs. You may have different promotions or things you want to do, but make sure you key in on those headlines and text ads and things that perform the best before you start trying to come up with brilliant new copy. So make sure that you're not only looking at last year's performance at an account level, but also from an ad copy level. Those would be some of the things I would think about. And then also on the Amazon side, actually, this came from my director of Amazon. I thought it was really a good kind of reminder is don't coast. And some of you, many of you who've benefited from COVID with extremely high sales. Norm, I was on a call yesterday with a guy who's grown 7,000%. 7,000%. More common is 400 to 500% growth.
Yeah.
But don't assume that those high sales are going to last forever. E-commerce grown tremendously in the past several months. Amazon slaying it. Strong sales should stay, but there's a myriad. Here comes the train horn. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a myriad of variables as we go into the remainder of the year and next that we might see different kind of things come in. You got an election, you've got COVID in the wintertime, you've got Amazon shipping capabilities, you've got UPS and other kinds of fulfillment challenges. I've got a friend at UPS who has been working overtime and 12-hour days for months now. You can't sustain some of that. So the main point is don't coast because sales are high now. They are for almost everyone, unless you're luxury goods or something like that. And just stay committed to the fundamentals.
It's interesting you say that because it's human nature, right? Oh, sales are going so well, and you just kind of leave it alone. This is where you want to probably even increase your competitive analysis. Find out what other people are doing. Try to beat them, and always take action. Don't be one of these Amazon sellers that have great intentions, because you'll end up being an Amazon seller with great intentions while everybody is profiting. The other thing that I think we have to talk about, Chris, is with explosive sales like that, you've got to make sure that you are properly capitalized, because if you don't, it's going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think capitalized. Some folks are properly capitalized, but their inventory is sitting somewhere and can't move. So thinking about your contingencies now. If you learned anything from this pandemic, it's have contingency plans. And just because maybe things have been going well for you recently, make sure you're thinking about your contingency plans for the what ifs. And one of the things that I think you should also look into, Norm, just in terms of being one of the things ways you can be proactive, especially on the Amazon side, is don't miss out on kind of early access betas. And that's one of the ways that you can, if you think your account's going great, that's fine, but don't miss out on those. The platform's increasingly a competitive marketplace. Any competitive advantage you can get, you should be able to do that. How many times have you seen something come out and people say, oh, the beta is not that great with Amazon? But then 2 or 3 or 4 months later, everyone's saying, oh, you have to do sponsor brand video. It's amazing.
Yep.
Well, I remember at first sponsor brand video came out and some people were losing a lot of money with it. And so if you hear about a new program and you don't have access to it, don't hesitate. If you're with an agency, like ask your agency, who's your Amazon rep? Can you ask for me? Or ask your account manager to request access. Because if you're not ahead of the curve on Amazon, you're already behind.
Right.
And another one's like Amazon Posts, or using Amazon Posts. How about the new multi-product tagging feature, post scheduling, advanced reporting that just got added to the beta? So you got to stay on top of those changes, or it's not that you're going to wake up one day and all of a sudden your sales have disappeared. It's going to be a drip, and then you're just going to be behind the curve, and then you're going to feel like it's a flood to catch up.
So almost like any social media right now, Amazon, and I think this happened because of Nike, but when Nike left and said that they couldn't build a brand or a brand community, they came out with posts. Post, like you said, has developed, and with these 3 new updates, plus the ability to have your brand URL, now you can start marketing it. But what I thought was brilliant is that you can now follow on posts. You can actually build a community on posts if you do it correctly, what about Amazon Live? Now you can follow on Amazon Live. You can get the message out to everyone who follows you, so you can build this community just like you could on any social media platform. There's no commenting yet or likes, but I'm sure that's going to come really quickly. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of curious. So you've got Amazon over here. We're getting into fourth quarter. We know that Prime's coming up. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Like, I have changed my inventory strategy completely. So I know that I'm protected. But with eCom on the other side, okay, so if you're on Shopify, do you know David Gimes?
I've heard the name.
You gotta meet him. He was on the other day, and he built his Shopify store, 0 Amazon except for this year, to $16 million in a couple years. Incredible guy. But he does things completely different than the Amazon person. Now, if you could kind of put them both together, imagine the company that you can have. Like, no Amazon until this year, and he's doing okay on that, but it's everything Shopify. So I guess, long way around it, what are the 2 advantages, or what should people be doing to leverage the 2 platforms?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, Norm, because I think one of the things that's unique about our agency, and I don't want this podcast to be about our agency, but it's what I do every day, so it becomes a part of you, is that there's a lot of Amazon-only agencies out there. There's a lot of Amazon-only SaaS and software out there. There's a lot of Google agencies out there. Until you only to get to the very top tier, like really big agencies, do you find skill sets with different departments that include Google ads and Amazon ads as well. So that's one of the things that's I think unique for us. And it also gives very unique insight when you're able to see both sides of it. So in answer to your question, one of the things that trends that we've been seeing a lot are Amazon sellers that have realized, because of FBA stuff, all the stuff that happened, they don't want to be only have Amazon as their only stream if that got cut off. So they're starting to look at what would happen if I opened a Shopify store, or what if I did more with my Shopify store than just let it sit out there and gain whatever organic sales that it can. I think from an Amazon to a Google side, all I would say is, as an Amazon seller, educate yourself on the Google marketplace before trying to engage with an agency. Because otherwise you're going to be held captive to what the agency thinks is the proper channels and strategy. And the agency is going to be able to help you a lot more if you're educated on search, shopping, display. Not an expert, but just get an overall understanding, because it is a much different, in many cases, shopping experience than what happens on Amazon. And it takes a little bit longer time to build up. Amazon's getting that way as well, but Google Ads takes a little bit longer time to build up. So one of the first steps that I would tell an Amazon seller is investigate Google Shopping. Find someone who can at least set up a Merchant Center account for you, build your feed. Google has free listings now. There was a time when Google would take a cut of your listing on shopping. They're not doing that with the free listings. So if you've got, one SKUs are going to be difficult, but if you've got a number of SKUs, 10, 15, 100, 5,000, you can get that as a feed moving into Google Shopping and set up just a simple smart shopping campaign. That's a good place to start for an Amazon seller to at least establish themselves on Google. And I'm not seeing that much the reverse. I'm not seeing very many established Google sellers decide to go full on Amazon. If they do, they're just selecting their top SKUs and putting those on Amazon because they're getting search volume for it anyway. So it's just some initial thoughts from what you said.
So let's talk about Google for a second, because I know going back even 4 or 5 years ago, it could be very expensive to be on Google. Okay, so I was working with Google directly. I've got a soap brand. I said, let's do this. We jumped in with 2 feet. We started off trying to build the community, trying to build the ads. They were helping me. And I blew through so much money, 5,000, that was about $5,000 a month trying to, and we were targeting specific demographics. Anyways, it just didn't work. And I started to hear this from all sorts of other people. People started to shy away and just go to other forms of marketing, specifically doing more PPC, sponsored ads on Amazon, of course, but also just through Facebook and other social media ads. So are you finding that Google ads now are more cost effective than what they were before?
It's a 2-part answer. Google ads, since the pandemic, cost per click has gone down substantially in some areas. It's gone up in other areas. CPAs, same thing. Some have gone up, some have gone down. But I really do believe it's still a good opportunity to test Google ads. The thing I would caution there is don't sign up with Google to do it. It's going to be a roulette wheel on whether you get somebody that's actually going to stay in line with what you actually want to accomplish versus what they are seeing in their world, in their lenses, as best practices. So then, hey, Brewer, well, what do I do if Google's not going to run it and you don't think I should run it because I don't know? Well, then it is finding a solid freelancer or consultant or smaller agency that you can trust to help get you established on Google. And that's where smart shopping and the free listings for Amazon sellers is a great place to start, because you can have a small test budget there and see how it goes. The other thing I'll mention, I almost forgot this, and I'm sure you've talked about this on other lunch with norms and other things, is back in the day, 3-4 years ago, Amazon brand, what's a brand on Amazon? Now, building a brand on Amazon is going to create a footprint for you off Amazon that's going to help you turbocharge anything that you do with Google ads. Example that around Facebook. We typically, for brands that come to us new that want to run Google ads, if they have no branded search because they're new, we'll usually say, go talk to these guys over here that we know are experts in Facebook ads, get started with brand awareness and use that as an awareness channel to build up and get your Facebook flow converting, and then come and talk to us. Because we know once you have branded search in Google, that allows us to get a lot faster traction with your campaigns. The reverse of that is we just had a guy start on Facebook, get shut down, lost his business manager, everything. And so he came to us and said, guys, I have to start with Google. Well, Norm, let me tell you, it's been expensive. It's been slow. He's happy because he has no other place to go. But it's going to take us probably another 2 or 3 months with him working on other channels to build brand awareness because he's in a competitive spot. So that lends itself to also Amazon with enhancing your storefront and content and running sponsor brand video and doing all the things that are going to enhance your brand. Because if you haven't done that and you want to do a cold start on Google, it's going to be cold. It's going to be brisk. It's going to be a challenge.
Well, you're touching on a point that I talk about quite a bit, and that's you have to have authority before you get trust. And if you don't have trust, nobody's going to buy your product because you're a micro brand. And there's all sorts of things you can do, not only creating ads, but content. Just create a blog with, don't go and get 250 word, 350 word, 550 word, pay $2, for these blog articles. Get quality blog articles. We like to run them around 1,500 to 2,500 words. Great content. Like Neil Patel says, if it's not the best blog article on the search, then don't bother doing it. But that's one thing to get it. Then for us, we run press releases. Press releases are going out all the time for us, building up the authority so that we can not only have links back to either the Shopify store or over to the Amazon store, but by the way, so this is a whole other thing. Amazon attain. Did you see or did you hear about one of the things that they're looking at right now for weighted, like on a weighted scale? It's authority domains linking back. Mm-hmm. I've been saying this forever. Like, just get high quality domains. You can get it through a press release. Get them linking back. So, and now they're saying that this is one of the things that they're looking for. So, and they're also looking for external traffic coming back to Amazon. So how do you do it? You can do it through ads. We had a question up here, and I should give out some shout outs, by the way. So Peter Wynn from Toronto, hey, just a stone throws away. Let me see here. Freddie. Okay, this was actually Freddie's question, but I also want to...
a couple questions.
Yeah, I also want to say hi to Timmy. I just saw that she came in. But anyways, let's go back to that question.
Okay, Freddie's question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So his question was, do you run Google ads to Amazon or Shopify stores? Why?
Both. I mean, running Google ads to an Amazon store, if you're new, in my opinion, is a bad idea. If you're running Google ads to an Amazon store as an established store with high volume, it can be a very solid strategy as long as you've got some tools or some insights from experts on the attribution side. And the reason I say it is, Norm, this is a quick, funny story. My wife and I used to own an Amazon brand. My wife took the Amazing course. She's an amazing woman, had never done it before, got her own product in China. We had her own brand. We launched, and it was actually getting traction and starting to move forward. And then I'm the brilliant Google guy. So I'm like, hey, honey, you really want to supercharge this? Let me run some PPC ads to your listing. And because it was low volume, you know what happened, Norm, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I killed it. I killed her listing because the traffic didn't convert, because there were other similar products that they wanted to shop for before purchasing with us. And I killed her algorithm, which ended up pretty much killing her business. And we ended up selling it to another guy for essentially what we put into it, including the inventory. So that's just you have to be very cautious when running ads from Google to Amazon. Running ads from Google to Shopify is like a no-brainer. So but again, doing it smart. And I would also suggest, and we can put some of these in the show notes after, Norm, but there's a course that we have that's great for newbies on just building a bottom of funnel Google Ads campaign. There's another group that we subscribe to that's got other great training in it, that if you're not interested in and we don't sell courses. I just happen to have one on our site.
Yeah.
So this isn't a course pitch. If there's others I can put in the show notes to educate you if you want to learn to kind of run your own campaigns. But I'll tell you again, unless you've done the work that Norm talks about in terms of content creation, building a brand, also putting some effort into video and kind of creating a community, you have to either have enormous patience or very deep pockets to scale up with Google.
Yeah.
From start.
So you were talking about driving traffic from Google directly over to the Amazon listing or the store. And the reason why it died was because of poor conversion rates. So that screwed up the algorithm. What if you were to have taken that and brought it over to a landing page or a funnel, which then sent it over? So you'd get rid of all the tire kickers, and then the from the landing page over to the Amazon listing, you probably have better traffic. Would that have worked?
The landing page is the way to go if you're going to do it. It's got to be kind of like the Russell Brunson mentality on a landing page, which is give them one thing to do, which can be a great coupon code and exactly all the benefits of their product. Because again, if they're shopping at an Amazon level, you're wanting a quick pass through, but the landing page is your stopgap. So you can have Google Analytics tracking, you can have Tag Manager tracking. You're still going to have issues on the sales side from an attribution standpoint on Amazon, but at least you'll have enough information and you can build an audience list that you can repurpose there.
Okay. Oh, there's another question here.
Yes. So the question is, would these platforms be suitable for a new business? And what strategy would you advise new entrepreneurs go with these platforms to maximize profitability?
Well, Shopify is a platform. Google Ads is a marketplace. So I'm going to make sure we have the distinctions here that marketplaces where you can sell your product are going to have ads with them. Google Shopping is a marketplace. Google Ads are the fuel to get people to that place. Amazon is a marketplace. Amazon sponsored product ads, sponsored display, all of that is the ads mechanism to get the traffic there. In terms of if you've got a new product and new launch off of Amazon, I think the DIY, more hire somebody to help you get it started would be like a WordPress with a WooCommerce plugin. The easy route, which I highly recommend, and I actually just created my own Shopify site on a whim for fun just 3 days ago, and it's already live and I've already made sales. Shopify is the way to go for just a quick and fairly straightforward approach.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, and by the way, I got to thank you or your team for putting together a really great PDF on the do's and don'ts of Amazon. And so we'll make that available to everybody a little bit later on. But let's talk a little bit about the do's and the don'ts. So what are the big do's and what are the big don'ts?
Yeah, this is one that you hear sometimes about resources being made available. This one I will guarantee you is gold, and it's going to be one of those resources. If you get it, I know I'm going to get people that say you should have charged for this information. Let me tell you where this information comes from. It comes from some friends on eCommerce Fuel, because I posted as a thread, and those folks contributed from the seller's point of view. And then I queried my team. I queried about 7 folks on my Amazon team, from directors to our actual specialists who are in accounts every single day. So I'm just going to mention, really in the time we have left too, just a handful of do's and don'ts here, but I'll put the whole PDF together that includes both ad recommendations and general account recommendations.
Fantastic.
Yep. So I'll just go through a quick list of 5 do's for Amazon advertising. For those of you that are veterans, heavyweights, some of this is going to be old news for you. But for those that are kind of a blend or somewhere in the middle, the first thing you got to do is organize your advertising, create name campaigns around how you see your company, parent ASINs, child ASINs, product lines, etc. Create and use portfolios to organize your campaigns. And then I really like this, create a chronicle for your account for easy reference, which is a table that shows your portfolio, parent ASIN, best performing child ASIN, SKU, description, and default ad copy. And then define your goals for Amazon ads at least once per quarter. Grow market share, achieve rank 1, improve ACOS efficiency, reduce spending. And then third, define and redefine the KPIs you're going to evaluate if you've achieved your goals. So, and make sure to make data-driven decisions, and then let Amazon do some of the heavy lifting for you. Use auto campaigns, suggested ASINs, categories, suggested bids to find converting keywords and ASINs on your reports. So that's just kind of a quick summary on the ad side. This is one that I thought was a really good one. Do pay attention to Amazon newsletters and invites. Don't just archive that Amazon newsletter when it comes in because you didn't like the first line. Pay attention to Amazon newsletters. The Amazon dashboard itself, Amazon has a habit of implementing new changes under the radar with little to minimal notice. In just the past month, if you weren't paying attention, you may have missed your IPI score falling into the red overnight when the threshold there changed to 500 from 400. And things like this can have a major impact on your day-to-day operations. So it's important to keep an eye out for those big changes. Do sponsored brand video, just the results you can expect. To give you a little more color on that, Norm, looking at 3 months of data for up to 10 different clients in various categories, video ACOS is 22% better than overall account ACOS. Sponsor brand video on average is 3%, only 3% of the total ad spend. The average click-through rate on a lifestyle video is 1.5%. And video click-through rate is 62% higher than account click-through rate. So we're getting as many of our clients into sponsor brand video as quick as we can. Those are some of the do's. I've got probably 20 others I'll put into the PDFs. Just some quick don'ts if you're good with me still kind of going freestyle here.
Sure.
Don't think you've got all your bases covered, or that you've tested a targeting variation that didn't work in the past, so it's never going to work. Don't make those kinds of assumptions. Don't stop learning. Always be experimenting, reading, improving your craft. Don't ignore your competitors. Don't make most of your decisions from your gut. For agencies out there, even if your client is telling you it's a gut feeling they've got, do it sometimes, but observe what you do, find what works, and keep improving on the process. And then the final one I'll say, because I know this is a hot button right now, with Amazon support. Okay, some of you's blood pressure just raised at the mention of Amazon support. Don't take no for an answer. Ultimately, success on Amazon can boil down to your persistence when it comes to correcting an issue that's impacting sales. So when it comes to Amazon seller support, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if a case is marked closed without a satisfactory resolution, do not be afraid to reopen it. With support experiencing record high call volumes, now more than ever, you've got to be assertive when it comes to your account and listing health. So we've already mentioned some of the others. Don't miss out on early access betas. And I think the last one I'll just mention, because it's around ads, is don't be reactive when it comes to listing and ad optimization. Amazon is notorious for delayed reporting, and Amazon's algorithm that determines organic search ranking and ad placement is sensitive. So as much as we all want to monitor, I said we, let's say clients, for me it's clients, as much as our clients want to monitor up to the minute stats, as business owners, one of the most damaging things that you can do on Amazon is obsessing over inaccurate data and then making wide sweeping listing or ad changes based on that. So as a rule of thumb, when making any major strategic marketing decisions in regards to Amazon, review at least 14 days of data, excluding the past 72 hours. So again, I've got a lot of other don'ts I could share, but we're just not going to have time for them today.
Great. So let's see. We are going to be posting. Oh, just a sec. Go ahead, Kels.
Oh, sorry. We do have a couple questions from
Okay.
the audience. If we could do it quickly. So from Peter, he wants to know, what are your thoughts on the drop shipping model? And then we have one after this too.
Oh, wow. How do I answer this one, Norm?
I'm putting you on the spot.
I loved the drop shipping model 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I just read an article, I think it was Newsweek, I can't remember, but it was about how young entrepreneurs are still going and setting up shop in Thailand and having a lifestyle thing and running a drop ship business out of there. I would say if you have the energy for this, it's worth testing. But I think for those of you that really appreciate good customer service and wanting to create a brand, not just going for get rich quick, the amount of folks that are successful with a drop shipping model today is far below the potential you could have with your own Shopify site and your own brand. And I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers there in the drop shipping community, but I would argue that there's more gurus making money selling courses on how drop shipping is working now than people actually doing really well with it.
Do you know Elena Saris?
I don't.
No? Oh, yeah, she got fed up with Amazon. She had 2 copyright infringements, 2 Black Fridays in a row. So she left and she started doing this drop shipping. She started into drop shipping and she's doing really well. We had her on probably about a month ago, and she had some really interesting tips, not the typical way of drop shipping. So it's kind of cool. But you said it. There's going to be controversy here. You know, people will either be a big drop shipper or big on Amazon, Shopify.
Well, and I would bet you that she is a very intelligent person that didn't just do this by taking a course. And
Correct.
and I think that is the difference, that there are folks like her that if you listen to that podcast, you're going to be amazed. But I would still caution folks with inventory issues that are going on right now that are going to be out of your control. Before you know it, you could have a great idea that provides a lot of liability for you and a bad customer and review experience that's not going to be sustainable.
Okay, so this is the last question, Kels?
Yeah, this is the last question that we have. So I've tried through Amazing to try and find a good product to sell. I found one that I was not passionate about, and sourcing from China did not work well. How can we find good products and source them from the USA? Is it possible and profitable?
I want Norm to answer this. I'll give my first. I'll give my first thought on it. Etsy would be where I would go. Go on Etsy, look around at products that are there. You can filter by how long the business has been around. You can filter by reviews. You can do all kinds of filtering there, and do searches that are around things that you are. I don't know if it was Michael or who asked that question, but do searches on Etsy around things that you are passionate about. There are folks on Etsy that have a great product, and they're still making it in their garage or on their kitchen table. And then you can go to them and talk to them about how could we potentially partner, or how could I help you, or even just look at how you could source that product somewhere else. And then you could launch with that. I think Etsy is still a gold mine because there's so many sellers on there that frankly are either comfortable with what they're doing. They don't really want to go into an Amazon business because they don't think they can scale their business, but it's just because they haven't looked at product suppliers and manufacturers to get it done.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even think of themselves as entrepreneurs. They're thinking of themselves as hobbyists. And
Yep.
I think it's you nailed it. Etsy's one area, Pinterest is another area. Kirsten Ross, go to kirstenross.com, and she's got some videos there about different product opportunities, how to find them. And one of the things that you can do too, she's an expert in crowdsourcing, but check crowdsourcing sites and see what they're doing and see if you can leverage anything that they're working on. Sometimes there's really some great ideas there. But there's all sorts of opportunities, especially like on the beauty side of things. I know I'm in beauty, I'm in pet, and most of my products are made in the US because I'm not trusting any topicals, anything that goes in your body or on your body from outside sources, for the outside overseas countries. For the most part, like Korea, incredible for cosmetics. China, I just get worried whenever I hear something coming in from China that's going on my body. I'm not sure. Like,
I'm with you. This is the last thing I'll say. I've actually got a hard stop at noon for actually another podcast I'm going on. But I ordered I'm not ashamed to say it. I ordered a hair removal for men. I won't show my back. It would just immediately stop the viewers immediately. But I bought one off a Facebook ad. And when I got it in and I saw it was made in China, it's still been in the cabinet. So The hair is still there. I just didn't want to take the risk. So I'm with you.
And Michael, just a quick shout out. Thank you for listening. And my buddy Dave from the good old RCA days. Glad to have you on. So last thing, Chris, I know you got that hard stop. So last piece of advice, last piece of anything.
I think I know that you've got a mix of startup entrepreneurs on here and established people. I think that one of the things that this year has taught us is that anything is possible. Anything is possible negatively. Anything is possible from an opportunity standpoint. And I would say that if you believe in the opportunity and you have outside sources that concur with your dream, stick to it, go for it. But I would also say that if you have major headwinds that you're trying to keep pushing through, you've got to change course. You've got to do something different, because in this day and age, you may have gotten away with this 4 or 5 years ago, but especially with the changes in our country and things that are happening now, the folks that continue to go right into the headwinds of e-commerce against good advice from folks that you may be close to or folks in the industry, you got to make a pivot. And many times those pivots can be incredibly profitable. So that's the last thing I'll say.
Perfect. All right, Chris, I know you got that hard stop. So thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you could be on the podcast again, because we could have gone another hour easily.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Lots of other things we could talk about. It's been phenomenal. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you later, Chris. Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. We'll be posting the whole thing along with shorter clips on Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy. So just check us out on my Facebook page or the YouTube channel. And Kelsey, come on back and tell people what to do.
Before you guys go, please like and share this. And if you know anyone who's interested in Amazon and e-commerce, tag them in the video, and hopefully we'll get a few new fans.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. We have lunchwithnorm.com. So any of the people that we may have mentioned that we hosted before, like Kirsten Rouse, Elena Saras, you can find all that information on our podcast, Lunch with Norm. It's up there. Go watch. It's great. Yep. Anything else? I think we have our newsletter. You can find it at news.normanfarrar.com.
That doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. So
okay.
if you're interested in the podcast, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can find us, Lunch with Norm. I think that's it.
All right. So Monday, we have Afalabi Orikun from Honu Worldwide. He is my partner in that sourcing logistics company, and we're going to be talking about how to get the most out of your supplier through negotiation. So that'll be an interesting one. So tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, or go to our Facebook page, Norm Farrar, aka The Beard Guy, to find out the events so you don't miss anything. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Lunch with Norm.